Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Virtual Racers Club Friday nights. Woohoo! End of the week. We're here for something called Speedfest. It's around a Route X, special stage Route X, using the Group 3 cars. I think there's only 3 choices of car. Let me have a couple double check on that. It was changed last minute. They were going to try and use the Group 3 road cars, Corvette, Tenza and Mustang, but it turns out not many people go into the mileage store and buy the cars. So today they made an alteration and said they're going to use the normal Group 3 cars, the Tenza, the Corvette and the Mustang, with bop on and tuning off, but all the other settings remain the same. What were the other settings? It's pinned. I know it's pinned, but I can't work it out. Here we go. Tyres times 2, racing softs only, fuel times 1, and tuning is off. So I think that's it. So good morning. Today's event is Speedfest. Oh, it's one word. I've put a dash in there. Oh, he's asking if we're ready already. It's 300 miles, 16 laps around Route X in Group 3 cars. And it's going to be very fast. Okay, everyone's starting to tell them if they're ready or not, so I'll give it a big R. So yeah, they're going to use a racing softs around here at Route X. It's just about playing a game of chess at 200 miles an hour, really. That's what this is all about. We haven't had a chance to look at the cars too closely. Homesick Alien, I think we're seeing him bringing back his PRC Ford Mustang, and Jokers is in a Corvette there, and Skyjacker looks like he's just about to start it off. I think they're starting in numerical order of their racing number for a rolling start, because the start really isn't that important. Shadow Rider's in the chat saying good evening. Hello. Botched that intro up a little bit, so here we go, straight into it, no messing around. 16 laps here at Route X, going very, very fast. Maybe they've done it in alphabetical order, I don't know. Oh, Sharen's in the house. IR Graham. Got some great nominees. There's Alpha Nut in a Tenza. Looking like the Mellow Yellow from Days of Thunder. Cool. Rito in a monster Corvette. Fantastic stuff there. That looks absolutely a banging. IRG, he is in the 12 car Menards. What's that, sweet in America probably. Sharen, he's in a Lexus. Oh yeah, of course he is. And they're off anyway. Alpha not leading them away. The tow game has began. Rito earlier pulling out on that tow. That green really sparkles in this track here. Back there, IRG just ahead of Team 13, Shiren. Homesick Alien sitting in 5th in the Ben and Jerry's Mustang, ahead of Jokers in the Milwaukee Corvette, and he's got a good tow there on the Alien. He's making his way past Rivixter. He's dropping back a little bit, and Skyjacker. Where is Skyjacker? What was it? Where? He's in the Mazda. Have I seen his car yet? I think I have. It's a monster, isn't it? No, I was looking at the wrong car. He looks like he's in a Holden, doesn't he, from the old Aussie V8 supercar days. But there they go. It's a long way to go. A long way before we see anything happening. There's Rito getting a bump draft from Alpha Nuts. This is how it's going to be for a good 16 laps here. Everyone helping each other along. If you lose the tow, you're out, really. You've got to hope someone falls back to you. You can see in the rear view, excuse me, IR Graham pulling ever closer to Alpha Nut as they make their way around, just flooring it there at 200 miles an hour in these Group 3 cars. I'm sure they're going to run out of fuel. I did hear something like the Mustang is better on fuel than Corvette, but the Corvette a little bit faster, possibly. And there we see those three have found themselves in their own little tow group. 4. Shiren's on the tail of those guys. So we've seen them break up into 2 different packs now. Jokus ahead of Homesick Alien, and Rivixter and Skyjacker in a second pack just behind. Very interesting. So let's get on board with Rivixter to see from his point of view. Brown trousers time at 200 miles an hour, getting a tow off the Alien. He's gone for underneath. He's gone low, grabbing that tow from Skyjacker. Rido still leading from Alpha Nut. Shiren has now moved ahead of IR Graham. Remember, the fuel is coming down on this, so they will have to pit stop. So you'll see a couple of the guys grabbing a tow. They'll probably want to do some fuel save, but there's no real fuel saving, is there? Really, it's foot to the floor all the way. But that is Rivixter just ahead of Homesick Alien. It looks like he's just dropping out of the tow of Skyjacker and Jokus. Them 2 off together in their own little tow bubble, whilst Rido still getting pushed along by Alpha Nuts. It's hard to see through the headlights. There you go, and there's Shiren in 3rd spot. Oh dear. Oh, nice. There they go. Look at that train of cars. Rido, Alpha Nuts, Shiren and IR Graham. Bumper to bumper all the way around Route X. And we've completed 1 lap, have we? No, we've not even completed the first lap yet. It takes a while for these boys to get around. And Rido's still leading. Oh, that's manic, that. IR Graham, let's see. Sitting on board with IR Graham, that's all he can see. Doesn't see how impressive all 4 cars are together as they trail along. It's going to be a long race, guys, out there, so join me in the chat. Say whatever you want. I'll say it. I don't mind. Even if you're secretly hidden in the background and you've never said anything before. Come on, now's the time. Get it out. Get all your aggro out. Tell me what I do bad. I'm open to suggestions. So Rido leading the way. That's beautiful, that's a real nice shot. Shiren, IR Graham, Jokus and Skyjacker still in their little tow bubble together, with Rivixter and Homesick Alien having to work together to try and catch these boys up. Is it all a little bit too late here for the Tang and the Corvette? Skyjacker in his Atenza pushing Jokus along in his Corvette, and now it looks like Skyjacker. Oh, I thought Skyjacker was having a look. Meanwhile, the top 4 are having a bit of a reshuffle, with Shiren moving up into 2nd spot now to push Rido along with Alpha Nuts. Just sitting behind them guys, and IR Graham still in that 4th place. Fuel, ooh, it does look like Rido, the one punching a hole, has used the most fuel out of those guys. Shiren, he's just over half a tank. Alpha's done a little bit better. They're shuffling around now. Looks like they're all starting to break the toe of each other. That's not how this works. They need to keep in each other's toe. And Jokus, oh dear, where's Skyjacker? Skyjacker, oh my lord. My word indeed, Skyjacker. Strange tactics indeed around here at Route X. You only have to really make 2 turns. Oh, he hit that barrier. See, this is the problem when you're following cars that closely. You don't see the barriers. And there you go. He's going to carry a bit of damage for a little while. So Rido, Shiren, Alpha Nut and IR Graham, all similar fuel. Jokus now on his own. He's going to be under threat. Oh, and so is Homesick. We've lost Rivixter a little bit. They've spread out at the back. Is Rivixter slowing down? And now we see in the PRC that Skyjacker and Rivixter work together amazingly from the back of the pack. They shaked and they baked, and they made their way up to the front of the pack. But so far, Rido has led all the way, all 2 laps so far. And Shiren taking his turn to be in 2nd spot. And Shiren we saw recently in the Sunday Cup. He's very good at the ovals. He knows how it works. Niall Graham sitting there in 4th, just waiting to see what happens. They'll all be getting cramp in their accelerator leg, the wheel users. And the pad users will be getting cramp in their thumb. If they use the X button. I think some people use the shoulder button. And now 3 of the cars splitting off. Rido without a tow, maybe he wants to drop behind a little bit, get towed. But he's still there. Alpha Nuts. It's Shiren there that's looking out, but no. Shiren's moved back into the tow. Down in 3rd, so Alpha there ahead. Then we've got our stragglers, Jocus, trying to catch that crew up to grab somewhat of a tow from him. Alien, he's a little further back. What's he going to do? He's like 5 seconds off of the Jokers, 14 seconds ahead of Rivixter. Rivixter definitely, I believe, is slowing down to pick up Skyjacker there. So these two can work together. Skyjacker getting purples out of the tow. So maybe the tow's not too great for them. I love the Star Trek theme on Rivixter's car. I haven't actually addressed that when I saw it sitting in the pits. I thought that looked like the Star Trek symbol on the back, and I just see it saying the USS Enterprise on the front. So very good. And there they go. Now they've caught each other up, and let's see if they can work together and what they can do from 7th and 8th. Rido still leading from Shiren. These guys pushing each other hard. Alpha Nut in 3rd with IR Graham sitting in 4th. Joker's only 3 seconds behind those guys, so he may be catching them up slightly. Homesick Alien dropping back a further couple of seconds from Joker's. It's very hard what Homesick can do now. Does he wait? Oh, Skyjacker jumping instantly ahead of Rivixter. So Rivixter's doing the push-in for a while. Not Skyjacker punches a hole. And Homesick Alien, he's probably trying to make out whether or not he should wait for the 2 behind and work together with those guys, or just plough on and try and catch up Jokers. But the top 4, they've got it made at the moment. They're all working together in unison to help tow each other around. Alpha not getting purples out there. He's just tucking in now behind IR Graham. Fuel's looking good on Alpha Nut. Rido, he might be the first of these guys to need a pit stop, whereas IR Graham and Alpha have been very clever with their fuels. Different cars, aren't they? It's a Mazda, and I think IR Graham, is he in a Mustang? So the Mazda and the Mustang there in 3rd and 4th, doing very well on fuel. The Corvette there up in the lead, it looks like he's used the most, but he has been punching a hole all the way. And the Lexus off Shiren has used a little bit more fuel up. There is a Jokers, like he was flashing there, 3.5 seconds, dropped off half a second now from that lead pack. But he's pulling away from Homesick, which I think he is fuel saving. He definitely is. Look, he's not even hitting the top of his 6th. Homesick waiting for Skyjacker and Rivixter, but meanwhile doing a bit of fuel saving at the same time. So very clever, very, very clever. It's a brave tactic though. It might not pay off if those 2 behind can't pull their way up to these leaders. But Rido, now his fuel is flashing. He's definitely going to have to come into the pits. The rest of the pack getting a little bit impatient sitting behind him. Shiren, Alpha Nut starting to tussle for position. IR Graham, he's happy to save fuel sitting behind those guys. Oh, there was a barrier bounce there for Shiren, was it? They're wiggling around back there. Oh no, don't be over there, don't go over there, don't go over there, because there's, oh, they're all coming in, all 4 of them. 4 top leaders and Jokers as well. Yeah, their fuel's alright. I mean, flashing, but Homesick, is he going to stay out? Now we saw Gasman, no, Homesick also coming in, but he'll have a shorter fuel stop. Very clever, he can catch those guys up. What will these do? Skyjacker and a Rivixter. Rivixter's got plenty of fuel out there. I imagine he'd be tempted to carry on, but no, they're going to pit as well. So everyone pitting at the end of lap 2. So 16 laps. Are we going to pit every 2 laps? Pat in the chat. Not sure I'd be keen to drop back almost 20 seconds if I were in home 6 position. It might not do his fuel any good being on his own though. Yes, Shiren is out. He's filled. He's got his softs on. That was pretty super quick. Now this is going to be interesting because they're spacing out a little bit now with Alphanut in 3rd and Joker's coming out ahead of Rido, but we did see Rido needing the fuel the most out of those guys, and it has cost him in the pits because Joker's has managed to jump him. Homesick Alien still in that 6th, but Skyjacker and Rivixter just leaving the pits now, but Skyjacker's still in there because Rivixter only had half a tank when he pitted. So Shiren is leading the way by 4.5 seconds by IR Graham, who's only 6/10 ahead, or 600, sorry, ahead of Alphanut. There he is, hiding just behind his bumper. Mika in the chat saying that testing showed the original road cars could do 3 laps. The Group 3 can only do 2. But there you go. It's going to be lots and lots of pit stops. But some of these cars, I think they could have carried on. If I was in Alpha's and Rivixter's shoes, I would have been very tempted to carry on, but they've gone for the shorter pit stop to stay in the tow. I understand that, I get that. So Joker's now down to 5th, so Rido has got himself back ahead of Joker's. Joker's dropping behind for the tow, possibly. Try and push them both up, but Shiren still 3.2. So IR Graham and Alphanut working together well, pushing forward to try and catch Shiren up whilst Shiren is out of a tow bubble, whilst Rido and Jokers have formed a tow bubble. Homesick Alien's still on his own there. He needs a friend. I mean, he's an alien, I know, but that's no reason not to befriend him. And he's homesick, so come on. Have some compassion out there, guys. Mika also saying, typo, sorry, I didn't even read it. Sorry. So Shiren is leading by 2 seconds. IRG and Alphanut are working together. Team Alpha Graham Nut, to try and catch up that Team 13 driver. Rido still ahead of Jokers, 2/10 between them. As they go through the corner, you'll see Jokers close up on Rido and start giving him a push up the road. Homesick Alien 3.3 seconds beyond the 2 ahead of him, but he's nearly 20 seconds ahead of Rivixter and Skyjacker. Skyjacker and Rivixter not working together at the moment. They're not forming their alliance from the PRC. Rivixter some 4 seconds ahead of Skyjacker at the moment. Skyjacker being slightly frustrated out there, hoping someone spins out to come down and help. Shiren then still leading, but there you go. There's the teamwork from IR Graham and Alphanut. Have managed to catch up. Shiren in the Team 13 Mazda leading this race so far on lap 3. We've seen they can only do two tours and then they're back into the pits again. I mean, are they even changing their tyres? I wouldn't imagine they'd need to. I suppose near the end, that's when we'll see some desperado pit stops, maybe. Not changing tyres, not needing to fuel as much. But at the moment, we can see 3 wide with IRG, Shiren and Alphanut battling it out there for the lead in this early stages. Rido and Joker still working together to try and catch up that top 3. Joker's has done really well. He was out in the cold a little bit. Now he's found a tow buddy. He can try and attack the guys ahead. They're 5.3 seconds ahead of the Alien, who's now 23 seconds ahead of Rivixter. And now Skyjacker has caught back up with the Rivs, and they will start working together. They need to work. They need Homesick Alien needs them to work together to help catch up. Excuse me. In the chat on YouTube, you can join in, you guys, anyone watching. But Mika says if they only do 2 laps, the only lap that will count towards the fastest lap will be the last one. So there we go. We'll see. We'll see who the fastest guy is on at the very end. It's like a Kinder Egg surprise. You have to wait until the very end to see. So there is Homesick. He's all on his own. Bless him, in his Mustang. He must hate that Mustang so much after the Pacific Rim Championship and the Days of Thunder that it was made for. Alpha is now leading this race from Shiren, IR Graham. They're only 2.5 seconds ahead of Rido and Joker, so Jokers and Rido are coming back at the front 3. Good stuff there, pulling further away from Homesick Alien. Homesick Alien really is in no man's land as Rivixter and Skyjacker start working together to see if they can get back up with that pack, but they have dropped away quite a bit. Meanwhile, Alphanut leading the way from Shiren. Oh, there we go. You can see what the cars look like. Now they're gone. Let's see. Rido and nearly saw them once. There you go. You get a good look at Homesick Aliens through the bridge, the tunnel. Rivixter and Skyjacker not quite at the tunnel yet. They come and get to see their cars. Ooh, Star Trek. Nice. I like it. Oh, Next Generation has actually picked out one. Picard or Kirk, Rivixter. Picard or Kirk. You have to make a decision. And there is Skyjacker. Although my favourite was Cisco. And if you choose Kirk, which Kirk? The Shat, or what's the new one? Pike, isn't it? Chris Pine. Sorry, I was choking on my drink. I apologise. So Alphanut is leading the way from Shiren, and IR Graham in 3rd place. Rido 4th ahead of Jokers. Skyjacker, what's... Ooh, hey up. Is that Mrs. Skyjacker in the chat? Janeway? Janeway was alright. Yeah, I'm not taking nothing away from Janeway. She just felt bad for Chakotay all the time, and she just took his manliness away. Every time he had a good idea, she'd just say, "Get down, Chakotay, you fool. I'm the boss here." But yeah, no, Janeway was cool. Excuse-moi. So there you go. Alpha, Shiren, IRG, all bouncing off of each other there, pushing each other forward. It doesn't look like Rido and Joker's managing to get any closer to him. We saw him up to about 2.5 seconds behind, and they've dropped to 3 seconds now. So more action needed down there for the Corvette twins. Homesick Alien nearly 10 seconds adrift of those guys now, but I think Rivixter and Skyjacker are starting to catch up the Alien. Skyjacker, admittedly 7 and 9 was the main reason to watch for GI. It crossed my mind, but I thought, oh yeah, but everyone will say, yeah, we know. But no, she was a really good... I like Borg. I really liked the Borg. So yeah, 7 and 9 was one of my favourite characters, but it wouldn't have mattered if 7 and 9 was a dude. Just Borg is cool. I'm woke, honestly. So Alpha is leading from Shiren. I don't know, he's freaking me out that I'm having a conversation with someone who's driving around in 8th place at the moment. And Rivixter there is in a 7th spot. But here is the lead. Alpha with Shiren and IR Graham all leading the way. Looks like Shiren's turn to lead for a little while in the Team 13 car. And there he goes. That is a smashing looking car. One thing you've got to say for the Team 13 boys, they always deliver on the liveries. Alphanut in 2nd, IR Graham in that 3rd place. Rido, 3.2 seconds. They're just not getting any closer. Rido, though, getting that fastest lap. from the rolling start. But the Corvette twins still not making ground on those leaders. Homesick Alien dropping another couple of seconds from the guys ahead, but definitely Rivixter and Skyjacker are on the comeback, and maybe that's what Homesick Alien's waiting for. Mika saying Natasha, yeah, for the win. She bailed. She only did a season or two and then done one. Skyjacker, yeah, but they don't read car list. Excuse me. So Homesick Alien then, 13 seconds. He's got Rivixter and Skyjacker chewing up the space behind, catching him up. So Homesick Alien hoping when these guys come upon them, they'll be ready to rock. Alpha, oh, there's a tussle at the front, with Alpha leading from Shiren, and IR Graham always there, hanging around, not leading yet. Oh, is that the wrong car then? Is he in the wrong car? Shiren, what's he in? Oh, Lexus. I thought it was weird when I said Lexus, and then I was just saying maybe it's me because I'm a fool. Oh dear, Shiren. Wrong car. You're in a Lexus, not a Mazda. Is it faster? 196 miles. Oh, he's gone in the pits. Oh, Alpha's... No, he's gone in... No, Alpha's stayed out. Sorry, now we're having different tactics. It's throwing me off. Joker's also staying out. But Rido, IRG, Shiren, all in the pits. Homesick as well joining them. He's burnt some fuel in that last run. Rivixter and Skyjacker still on their comeback. They're heading for the pits. And you can see Skyjacker talking to Rivixter through blinks and dashes on his headlights, but Alpha staying on out. Bold move, and Jokers as well continuing on. So a bit of a shake up back here. Shiren made his way back out onto the track with a full tank of fuel and fresh tyres. They are changing the tyres then, so interesting stuff. Rido is back there in 5th place now. Where have they shuffled out? Because he's 5 seconds behind IR Graham. He was Jokes' little tow bubble, and now he's 8.5 seconds ahead of Homesick Alien. Homesick Alien only 9 seconds now ahead of Skyjacker and Rivixter. It's very interesting how this is going to pan out. We're on lap 5 so far. Alpha not staying out, bucking the trend along with Jokers, and they've got plenty of fuel. They can carry on, there's nothing wrong with that, but they usually pit together to stay within tow. As you can see, Shiren and IR Graham are benefiting from a little bit of towing, and when the Pennzoil Mustang catches back up with the illegal Lexus, then oh, there you go, he just did, boom. And now you can see this is why Shiren and IRG will be faster than Alpha and Jokers, because they are getting a benefit of a bump draft from each other. Rido 5.3 seconds behind them. He's all on his own, 10 seconds ahead of Homesick Alien, who is 9 seconds ahead of Skyjacker, who's it's his turn to lead from Rivixter. So the Corvette Enterprise, zoom, there you go, into warp. Mika in the chat saying Jokers has the fuel, but I'm worried for Alpha. Yes, it's a struggle for Alpha. He's low on fuel now, but he did manage to go 4th and take that fastest lap with a 5:49.017 with not pitting. Jokers not far behind either, was he? 2/10, wow. Shiren and IRG, are they working together or are they racing each other? Shiren, it looks like they're working together at the moment. Rido, 5 seconds adrift of those guys, 12 seconds ahead of the Alien now. Skyjacker and Rivixter are catching up the Alien, so he will have a buddy soon, I'm pretty sure. Rivixter out wide there in the corners. Don't want to do no bump drafting mid-corner. That could be awful. You've been racing for 27 minutes. Wow, you wouldn't have thought it. So Alphanut, he will pit surely at the end of this lap. This fuel gauge has just started flashing. And where will that funnel him out? Because obviously IR Graham and Shiren have been helping each other out around this lap. It's going to be interesting. Very interesting. Might drop Alpha. I'm pretty sure Alpha Nut will drop behind the leaders for sure. Oh, is that not where the pit stop is? Somewhere around here, isn't it, surely? No, it's the other side of the track, obviously. Oh yeah, I can see the double lines on the other side, sorry. I'm getting wrong sides. Good job I'm not out there, I would have been driving into a wall. So, Jokus, only 2.5 seconds behind. He surely should pit at the end of this as well, I imagine. His fuel not looking too hot. IR Graham and Shiren in their tow bubble. Rido, he's pulled in a little bit of time on the two ahead of him. 16 seconds now ahead of Homesick Alien, that Mustang. He's doing a bit of fuel saving. Look, he's not even at full throttle. He's waiting for this train, the Skyjacker and Rivixter, to catch up with him, and then he's going to get himself in a tow bubble with those guys. Alpha Nuts is just coming up to that final turn, so we'll see him disappear into the pits for sure. Look, oof, was tight for fuel for Alpha Nut. You really don't want to run out of fuel here. Being out of tow is bad enough. It doesn't look like looks like he is sort of just lifting her on the way home. It's not bouncing off of the top. And Jokus is very tight for fuel as well. It's going to be close. Looks like Jokus really has caught up Alphanut. I think Alphanut has had to turn his engine down to finish off the lap. But he's still ahead of Jokus at the moment. Where will he shuffle out at the end of this? Who knows? Yeah, there you go. Jokus has gone through. Has Alpha totally run out of fuel? Not quite. He's just coasting her back in fifth. It was close though, man. It was very close. Look, 0%, 2% for Jokus. Very tight on the fuel there. IRG and Shiren will take over the lead, I'm sure. Looks like IRG's getting a bit of internet lag going on there. Rido, 4.2 seconds behind him. Homesick Alien now has found a bubble. Woo! So Skyjacker, Homesick and Rivixter down there in 6th, 7th and 8th are going to form their own alliance. But in all fairness, Alpha and Jokus might end up down with those guys. It looks like Alpha is out. Alpha is out in 3rd spot. It says he's only a second behind them, 2 ahead of him. So IRG and Shiren in 1.6 seconds, but you see he's dropping hard is Alpha because he's not got that tow. 1.9 seconds. But now they're all out of sequence, so this is going to be very interesting. Alpha could pit on that next lap that then 2 do ahead of him and just short fill. Well, he's short filled anyway. He's only put half a tank in, so he's put himself back into their pit stops. Rido, 2.4 seconds behind Alpha, and he's only 0.2 ahead of Jokus. So Rido and Jokus can reform their tow bubble, while Skyjacker, Rivixter and now Homesick has joined their train. Warm beverage. So IR Graham leading the way from Shiren. who mixed his cars up. He's got his Lexus mixed up with a Mazda. God, let's hope it's not mixed it up with a Corvette. Alpha not in that third place, 1.8 seconds behind those leaders. 2.3 seconds ahead of Jocus and Rido. But these two should catch up with Alpha pretty quickly, I imagine. Skyjacker, oh yeah, beautiful shot there of the Skyjacker train. Cracking. Beautiful stuff there. M6 Mustang not quite on the back of those guys. We're on lap 6 now of 16, still a long way to go. 32 minutes through this race. Aya Graham and Sharon are in their own little bubble, helping each other out there in the lead. But I imagine in the last 2 laps it'll get nasty. Alpha not there in a third spot. Changed his strategy. I believe he's put himself back on the strategy of the leaders. Rido 2.3 seconds behind. Jocus has dropped back a little bit from Rido, so that's very interesting. And it's a 20-second deficit for this little train back here. Skyjacker and Homesick Alien with the rivs there. It's not opting to sit out of the tow at the moment. It looks like he wants to just go ahead, and he wants to be the leader for a short while. And Skyjacker slips in behind the Corvette. And there we go, we've got all 3 there. Corvette, Mustang and the Mazda. No Lexuses though. Aya Graham and Sharon still leading the way, but Alpha only 1.5 seconds. He's found a few tenths on those cars ahead of him. Quarter of a tank of fuel. Sharon's on half, and Aya Graham is on a quarter of a tank of fuel. Is anyone going to be bold like Sharon, trying to stay out like Alpha not did, trying to break the cycle? Rido 2.2 seconds, 8 tenths ahead of Jokers. These two not actually working together too well at the moment. And now Rivixter leading that train is only 19 seconds behind those guys. And they'll be coming through pretty soon, I imagine, to catch them up. If we sit on board with the Alien. Right at the back, staring at the back of Skyjackers. Mazda. Just shy of 200 miles an hour there. Some crazy speed, and like I said, there's barely any lifting, no lifting pretty much. So they're whatever appendage they use to accelerate is got to be getting quite achy by 35 minutes. And there's still such a long way to go. On board with Homesick Alien. He's not really bump drafting, is he? He's just sat in the tow of the Mazda. And you can see this is where it's starting to help him out. So Aya Graham has gone into the pits. Sharon has stayed out. So Sharon giving it a go like Alpha. Jokers also again booking the trend. Has stayed out there. Sharon and Jokers are both in Team 13. So I don't know if there is any communicado between the two of them during the race. Meanwhile, everyone else has pitted. Skyjacker, Rivixter, Homesick, Rido, Alpha, and Aya Graham. We're sure Aya Graham will be the first to pop out of the pits. Rido's car's lovely, innit? It's proper nice. There you go. Here they all come out of the pits. It was Rido first, it seems, ahead of IR Graham. He hasn't short-filled or anything, just I think that Corvette saves fuel a bit better. So Rido putting himself up into third spot ahead of IR Graham. Alpha not down there in fifth, 1.3 seconds behind IR Graham. Homesick Alien, 11 seconds adrift of those, 2.4 seconds ahead of Skyjacker, who's only 8 tenths ahead of Rivixter. Interesting stuff. Shiren opting not to pit that lap, and now he has taken the fastest lap of the race with a 5:48.459. And Jokus 1.1.5 seconds adrift of Shiren, but 36 seconds ahead of Rido. And IR Graham sitting on the tail of Rido, giving him a bit of a bump draft, getting things along the way. We're just starting lap 7 of 16. It's not quite halfway yet. So Shiren only 3 tenths ahead of Jokus. Did he lift to get Jokus back up with him, or did Jokus just catch up? Jokus in the Corvette, half a tank of fuel, with Shiren in the Lexus, a quarter of a tank of fuel. So interesting stuff. Looks like Jokus wants to get that lead from Shiren right now. He's having a look around, weaving around in that toe. Stick in the toe, Jokus. Give him a few bumps. He probably wants you to help him with his fuel. Bounce him along a little bit. There he goes. He's right up onto his bumper now. Is Jokus. He's getting the idea. Keep it straight. Sit in that toe. Sit perfectly. No. You don't want to look out there. Get perfectly behind that car and let it tow you into it and then bump it. Beautiful. There you go. And again, another bump. There you go. Sweet. That's the way to do it. That is bump drafting, ladies and gentlemen. So Shiren and Jokus trying to use each other to get an advantage for after their pit stops. But IR Graham and Rido doing exactly the same, although IR Graham 2 tenths behind Rido. I imagine they're using the same tactic. Alpha, he's 1.6 seconds behind IR Graham, 14 seconds ahead of Skyjacker. So Homesick Alien got caught up by these guys in the end and joined back in with their draft bubble. Skyjacker leading that pack in 6th, Homesick in 7th, and Rivixter in the Corvette in 8th. Excuse me. Shiren and Jokus, and what will they do? They've got quite a way to go till the pit stop. Shiren, his fuel is starting to concern me somewhat. Is he going to end up in the similar position as Alphanaut? But they've got it made now. Look at that, beautiful stuff. The Corvette pushing the Lexus along nicely. Meow. Beautiful fast car. Oh my god, look at that fast car. Rido and IR Graham are working together to try and regain the lead after Shiren and Joker's pits. Alphanaut nearly 2 seconds adrift of those guys, and the deficit that Skyjacker had and this crew was some 20 seconds, wasn't it? And now it's 14.5 seconds, so it's working well for them. Their little alliance back here, all 3 manufacturers jumping in bed together and bump drafting each other all the way up to the front of the pack. So Shiren coming around that final corner, his fuel is flashing. There is Jokus. Jokus still got a quarter of a tank of fuel. Would he risk going around again, or is he going to stick with his Team 13 teammate and they can work together throughout the race to try and win this bad boy. Shiren now dropping into the pits, and Jokers has followed him in, so yes, those two are pitting. Shiren there on 3% fuel, just about made it. Rido and IR Graham are going to resume the lead, one presumes. IR Graham keeping that car up high. I like putting it up there as well. It feels cool. It feels cool when it's really banked and it's bedded down. Rido staying low on the flat ground with IR Graham in 4th. Alpha not there in 5th. Trying to catch a tow from them guys. And there they go past the pitted Shiren and Jokers. Does Alpha also get there? Jokers, it's saying, is come out in 1st. That cannot be true, can it? There you go. Rido and IR Graham fly past Jokers. He did get out ahead of him, but he's got to get up to speed in that Corvette. Alpha has got himself ahead of Shiren, so staying out there has cost Shiren quite a lot. Rivixter now 13 seconds behind Shiren, so this little clan at the back are the USS VRC at the back here are catching them up. Rido is leading like he did at the beginning of the race. We're halfway through. At the beginning, Rido was leading, and Rido is leading at halfway point. So Rido doing the best out of everyone so far. IR Graham, he's pushing them along with Jokers there. What a turnaround for Jokers with his pit stop strategies. He's got a full tank of fuel with IR Graham on half, Rido also on a half, and he's caught these guys up a treat. He's going to go for the lead. No, he's tucked in behind IR Graham. I thought he was going for it, but there you go, the 3 front runners, Rido, IR Graham and Jokers, are leading the Speed Fest here at the Virtual Racers Club presents Route X, special stage Route X, and it's just about pure speed, this track, this event. Excuse me. So Alpha not then 2 seconds adrift of that front 3, 3.7 seconds ahead of Shiren, who now it's only 10 seconds ahead of this fast flying vehicle here. These 3 have worked together great at the back of the pack, and they're slowly chipping away that lead of the leaders. Rivixter, he's 16 seconds adrift of Rido, and only 10 seconds adrift of 5th place. Remember earlier we saw that there were nearly 20 seconds adrift of the car in front. So cracking work there by Rivixter and Skyjacker. Then Homesick joining their alliance later on. And it's cracking stuff. Meanwhile, Rido still leads from IR Graham and Jokers in 3rd spots. These guys with their own alliance trying to do the same thing as the 3 in the back. Then Alpha is a lone wolf working alone. And 1.5 seconds behind Jokers, and 4.3 seconds behind Shiren. Shiren he's just out there in the open. He's also in that position where Homesick Alien was, where he's kind of hoping that these 3 catch him up so he can catch a lift back to the front. Get on the USS Enterprise. Next stop, 1st place. Rido though is doing a fine job in his monster Corvette, leading the way here ahead of IR Graham in his Ford Mustang, and they're bringing Jokers along to the ride in his Corvette also. Him and Rido earlier on had themselves a bit of an alliance, and now IR Graham's jumped from the Shiren and Alpha train and onto the Rido and Joker's train. It's wherever the tow is available, I imagine, for these guys. Mellow yellow. Just takes me back to my days of thunder. Days of watching that almost every other day. Shiren 4.4 seconds behind Alpha Not, 8.2 seconds ahead of the Rivs. So this train really is catching up Shiren very, very speedily as they go past the great big satellite dishes, talking to the aliens. That's how Homesick Alien communicates. That's why he's at the back. He's too busy talking to family members, using the big dishes. A series of beeps and such what. So Rido leading the way from IR Graham and Jokers. Let's get on board with Jokers for a little bit, shall we? And see what it looks like from his point of view, looking at the back of IRG's Ford Mustang. Are these guys ready for a pit? Surely not. It looks like Rido's over there, and so is, oh yes, they've dropped into the pit lanes now, and Alphanot also. So we're all on our own, leading the race. 6.5 seconds ahead of Shiren, with 3/4 of a tank of fuel. Jokers really has put himself out of this pit stop strategy of the other guys. And it's just him and Shiren again not pitting on this lap. Everyone else in the pits. Rido there is fueling up now. Alpha also fueling, and IR Graham. IR Graham should be the first one out because he's got a lot less fuel to put on board. So IR Graham in the Mustang hits the track ahead of Alphanot. Rido's dropped down into 5th place. And after his pit stop, that Corvette must be a thirsty boy, thirsty girl, whatever you want to call it. Homesick Alien now leading that train with Skyjacker and a Rivixter. I'm sure they'll all bunch up pretty soon as they make their way through, but 7 seconds Homesick Alien is behind Rido, and if you remember, Rido was leading this race, so that pack at the back is getting closer to the pack at the front. Joker's not pitting yet, as has not Shiren. Shiren's some way down. These guys playing a risky game out there without having a tow buddy to grab them. Alphanot leading from IR Graham now. IR Graham right on Alpha's... no, he's not. I thought he was right on the... yeah, he should be. Right, there he is. That's where I expected to see him. I thought, where is he? But IR Graham just behind Alpha now. Bump draft in. They're a second ahead of Rido. Rido getting that tow. Will catch those guys up. Homesick Alien 9 seconds adrift from Rido in 6th place ahead of Skyjacker and Rivixter. These three working together to try and climb back up through the pack. We're on lap 9 of 16, and Joker's out there. He's doing a cracking job. Half a tank of fuel. Leading from Shiren, 5.3 seconds. So Shiren's pulled a second or so back on Joker's in this lap. And Alphanot, IR Graham and Rido trying their best. Well, they seem to have dropped Rido a little bit. Alphanot going low, IR Graham going high as they make their way around the humongous corner here at Special Stage Route X. For a 300-mile race, I think it was, he said. 16 laps of this, 300 miles. So some crazy mileage. And that is 100% acceleration, I believe. No brakes whatsoever. And Jokus leading in his Corvette. 5 seconds ahead of his teammate Shiren. Alpha Nuts only 600ths ahead of IR Graham. And they're bump drafting and towing each other along. Rido desperate to catch up that train and get in on that business, or he'll be caught out by Jokus and Shiren. So he needs to get himself right up there behind IR Graham, so they can get themselves towed along before Jokus and Shiren come back out the pits. Skyjacker 9.4 seconds behind Rido, but they're proper doing it right down there with Homesick Piggy in the middle. Gets a bump from the Corvette, gives the Mazda a bump. Gets a bump from the Corvette, gives the Mazda a bump. Beautiful stuff. Whoosh. Spinning camera. Action. Woo. Can I have some explosions in the background as well? And Iron Man flying into the scene. Wow. Look at that, eh? So these three out the back there, trying to pull themselves up through the pack. Jokus still got plenty of fuel, but he's coming up to the final turn. And will he pit? Shiren never getting any closer than that 1 second that he pulled in on Jokus out there. Alphanut 31 seconds with IR Graham pushing him along. Rido only 8/10ths behind them, guys. He'll be grabbing, he's getting a tow. So I don't suppose he minds. He'll be grabbing a tow, even if he's not catching them up. Rivixter, Skyjacker and Homesick all in their own little bubble. Meow doo. I can't do the tune. Star Trek. My voice is still too buggered. But we're on lap 9 now. We should be seeing Jokus. Say should be. I don't know if a quarter of a tank can carry him around. Another lap, I doubt he could. Shiren definitely needs to see the pits. His fuel, and there goes the Corvette into the pit lane, as does the Lexus of Shiren. Alphanut and IR Graham coming around that final corner as well. They'll retake the lead. Is it Rido? He's been in their tow all the way. I think he's done enough to get himself ahead of the two pit stoppers, but we will see. Then you've got Rivixter 9 seconds down the road leading Skyjacker, and Homesick Alien just sitting in the back of those two with the tow. Jokus, Shiren still in the pits. Here comes Alpha. I think it's a slam dunk that Alpha and IR Graham will get ahead, but I don't know, because Jokus is back out on the track, but he's got to get up to speed. 5th gear, climbing through those gears. Alpha not 4.2 seconds behind him. My word, what is Jokus doing out there? Jokus is breaking the trend, but he's still trying to catch up to speed. Whilst these are at full whack now, Alpha and IR Graham. Rido did get himself ahead of Shiren. I believe he was before the pit stops anyway. Now Jokus is up to speed. He's up to about 200 odd, or just under 200 odds, and he's 2.4 seconds ahead of Alphanut and IR Graham. So Joker's playing a blinder out there in that Corvette, bucking the trend. I don't need a tow, caught Jokus. Rido a second behind, but he's nearly 5 seconds ahead of Shiren. Ooh, Shiren, does he get to go for a wee-wee or something? It looks like he's ghosted out there. You've got Rivixter now, only 3.8 seconds behind Shiren, Skyjacker and Homesick Alien working together to catch up the Russian sensation. Is he still ghosted? Ooh, I'm concerned for him. Looks like Shiren on automatic pilot, maybe resting his leg down the straights. I imagine as soon as you get her up to speed, you won't lose speed. Jokus leading 2.2 seconds ahead of Alphanut, who's getting pushed along by IR Graham. Beautiful, beautiful NASCAR style cars there, with the Corvette in 4th, Shiren in 5th, 4.8 seconds adrift of Rido. 3.3 seconds ahead of Rivixter, who is leading that train with Skyjacker and Homesick Alien just grabbing a toe behind them. In the Ben & Jerry's Mustang, Jocus 2 seconds now with Alpha and IR Graham towing and bump drafting each other. They should catch up with Jocus. Jocus again on that heavy car. It will stay out longer than these two chasing them. Where is Shren? There's Shren. And then these three at the back here. Beautiful stuff. So we're on lap 10, only 6 more laps to go. We're nearly an hour of racing here at Special Stage Route X. It's crazy stuff, absolutely mental. The chat has been quite quiet here. I miss you guys, come back, come and chat. So Joker's 1.8 seconds ahead of Alpha and IR Graham, who are towing each other along to try and catch up Joker's Corvette. Rido, he's lost a bit more from them two ahead of him. He was just less than a second, now it's 1.7 seconds behind IR Graham, 5 seconds ahead of Shren. And it looks like Shren's comfort break is over. He's back, unghosted and hitting it hard in his Lexus. Skyjacker says he's still here. Well, you should be racing. I don't know how you're doing that. It freaks me out. So Rivixter in 6th, Skyjacker in 7th, and Homesick Alien in 8th in their own little train. Hey, Koi's in the room. Any thoughts of any winners out there? Does anyone want to call it? With 6 laps to go, Jocus, he's been on a different strategy than the guys behind him. Is it enough for him to take the plaudits? 1.4 seconds ahead of Alpha. IR Graham, he's been quite quiet, always there up at the front, but he's just been always bump drafting someone. Alpha also looked like he changed his strategy, got himself back into the strategy of the cars around him. I say that, we're back on IR Graham's strategy because Shren stepped out of their pit stops now. Rido, he was leading earlier. Oh, Rido, he needs fuel. He's got a whole corner to go. I don't know if he's going to make that. These two, IR Graham and Alpha Nut, plenty of fuel on boards. Jocus, it's down to a second now. Koi, he's putting Alpha in. Alpha's got a great, strong opportunity and chance to win this race, I believe. Got to be out of Alpha and IRG, hasn't it? IR Graham. Jocus, I'm not putting him, I'm not saying he's not got the chance, but his strategy is odd and I can't work it out. He can stay out still longer with these two. As they're catching him up, they're going to be in the pits again. So Jocus might be on a good strategy there. Rido, he's going to run out of fuel before he gets to that pit lane. I'm pretty sure Shren will be catching Rido up. He's just got there, and he just got there just in time. Look at that, it's got to be 0. So Alpha and IR Graham both into the pits. Joker stays out. Rido in on 0%, that's tight. Shren has come back in, so he's putting himself back in the pit stops of those around him, and Jocus is the only one stayed out. So we'll watch you, Jocus, if you don't mind, mate, because you're the only one on track at the moment on lap 11 of 16. Pat in the chat says, hi, still here, just lapping Monza at the moment with you in the background. Monza in a HPEC, I guess, for Sunday's race. Oh, Pat, are you joining the HPEC, are you, my friend? Oh, great. So, Jokers, because Jim's just departed, so it'd be nice. Jokers flying around. Alpha is out of the pits. Shren is out ahead of IR Graham. A little bit of shuffling from the pit stops. Alpha not on full tanks. Shren also on full tanks. They've all fully tanked up, but Shren he did have a lower fuel, didn't he? So yeah, he's come in short field, got himself back out there in third, ahead of IR Graham. Homesick Alien only 3.8 seconds now behind IR Graham. So Skyjacker 1.5 seconds behind Homesick. Rivixter 1.2 seconds behind them. And Rido somehow has missed out altogether, and he's at the back of the pack. I don't know what happened to Rido. He seems to have taken... Oh yeah, he ran out of fuel as he got to the pit lane. I bet he went down the pit lane like slower or something. He had nearly 10 seconds longer on his pit stop. So Jokers then 36 seconds ahead of Alpha. Alpha is 3 seconds ahead of Shuren. It was only 0.8 ahead of IR Graham there. Homesick Alien 5.6 seconds now behind IR Graham, but he's in that train with Skyjacker. And Rivixter not too far behind them. And Rido, he wants to get up on that with them four. They could be strong at the end of this race, who knows. We're on a lap 11, so we've only got 5 more laps to find out who our Speedfest champ will be. At the moment, Joker's doing an absolute blinding job. He was back in 5th earlier, if you remember. Looked like he wasn't in with a chance. Stayed out with Shuren for a lap longer. And then that shuffled him up the order, and now he's leading. He led that whole last stint. Pit stop, came out in front and stayed out in front. Alpha then 3.6 seconds ahead of Shuren and IR Graham helping each other out, but they're not catching up Alpha at the moment. He's out there all on his own. Skyjacker, who's ahead of Homesick Alien, who's ahead of Rivixter, who's ahead of Rido. And these haven't quite got themselves into that train yet like they were. They're starting to shuffle it now. And Rivixter catching up with Skyjacker as they make their way around turn 2. Jokers then. He's got plenty of fuel in that car. He's on a cracking little strategy. He's lost about 2 seconds to Alphanut. Alphanut on the fresher tyres, possibly. As you can see, the Corvette using up its back rears. Its rear tyres. We haven't seen anyone. I think they've all changed their tyres when they've pitted. Shuren, possibly he didn't change his tyres. Shuren kept the same tyres on. And now getting a bum draft off IR Graham as they try and catch up Alpha, and they really want to jump Jokers. Jokers heading up. No, he's heading up to turn 2. The other one's turn 1. I called it turn 2 and it's not, it's turn 1. How crazy am I? So lap 11, Jokers leading in the Corvette, the Milwaukee Corvette. Ahead of Alphanut in the Melu yellow Mazda. Shuren in 3rd place with IR Graham in his Team 13 Lexus. IR Graham in the Pennzoil Menards Ford Mustang. Rivixter in his Star Trek Enterprise Corvette, ahead of Skyjacker in his Vauxhall Opel Mazda, and Homesick Alien in 7th in his Ben & Jerry's Mustang. And Rido 2.3 seconds. He didn't quite grab that toe that he should have done from the guys ahead of him, and it looks like he's short fueled it a little bit. No, it's less fuel, that Corvette getting through the fuel on Rido's car. Joker's still out there. He's coming around that final turn 2. He's going to have to throw it in the pits. I don't think there's enough fuel there for him to continue. And there he goes into the pit entry, nice and clean. He disappears. Alpha, is it enough for Alpha to jump Jokers? Jokers last time, I'm pretty sure. Holden, that's it. I said Holden at the beginning. I think they're all the same company though, aren't they? Holden, Vauxhall, Opel. I may be wrong. There is Alphanut. How are you doing that, Skyjacker? It's freaking me out. You've lost a position now, see? To Homesick. You've got some sort of voice thing, chap. And Alpha having a comfort break. Whilst he goes down the straights here. Joker's back out of the pits behind Alpha. He's got to get up to speed. He's just 3 seconds ahead of Shiren, who is with IR Graham. So for Joker's pit strategy is absolutely bob on at the moment. Alpha takes that lead. With Shiren in third. IR Graham in fourth, trying to push each other along to catch up these guys. Rivixter now only 3.5 seconds behind IR Graham, leading Skyjacker with Homesick Alien just behind him. Rido is starting to catch those cars up ahead of him. Bunny in the chat saying good evening to the VRC family. Hello, Bunny. Skyjacker said don't text and drive, kids. Pat saying Holden is what Vauxhall are called in Australia, I think. They used to race in the Australian V8 Supercars. I did say it right at the very beginning. In all fairness, I said it looks like a Holden from the Australian V8 Supercar series. But then I went through all of them. I haven't kept up with BTCC for a while. It could have been a BTCC livery. Although the last time I saw Vauxhall in that, they were like VX or something like that. Muddy also saying, yes, Holden is for the Australian market, Vauxhall UK and Opel European. I don't think hold me to it though. Yeah, I think that's how it is. I did, mate. See, Skyjacker, see, he heard me. I did, honestly. I was just going through all of them. I was pushing all of them. So IR Graham now ahead of Shiren. I missed that, I apologise, with the whole Vauxhall Holden Opel chat. They're renaming the Volkswagen in America, I think. I can't remember, it's something to do with electric, but I can't remember what it is now. I'm sure someone at work ages ago was telling me how Volkswagen are changing their name in America. So Alphanut leading from Jokers, 3.6 seconds. He's doing an absolutely super job there, Alphanut. Doesn't look like Joker's changed his tyres again. IR Graham and Shiren working together to try and cut down that gap. Ahead of them, and Rivixter 1.3 second behind Shiren, with Skyjacker in tow and Homesick Alien. So those three have been mighty in this race, gaining ground all the way, and they're starting to get very close. 2.7 seconds behind for Rido. Rido losing that tow a little bit from the guys ahead of him. And Alphanut is leading. So Coy called it, or Muddy on here called it, said Alphanut for the win. I was leaning towards the IR Graham Shiren combo. I'm starting to feel that Jokers might be in with a shout here with his out of sync pit strategy. It's so tough, it's so tough. And then we've got the Rivix to Skyjacker Homesick anomaly to take into account, that they could also come into play come the end of this race. And we had Rido leading. He could come back and get ahead of everyone again, although I think he's going to have to pit at the end of this lap, although there might be a few of them pitting at the end of this lap. The mellow yellow car, car 42, Cole Trickle, 4.5 seconds ahead of Jokers, but Jokers won't need to pit as he is still on his out lap from his last car, car 80 in the Corvette. Rivix, hey up. Where's IR Graham? IR Graham's and Shiren have been caught up by these guys. Did I miss something crazy? I don't think I did. No, Skyjacker, Rivixter and Homesick Alien have caught up the train of IR Graham and Shiren, and now these have all united. So from Rivixter and Skyjacker in the beginning, it has now become Rivixter, Skyjacker, Shiren, Homesick Alien and IR Graham all working together there. Rivixter in third, Skyjacker in fourth, Shiren in fifth, Homesick Alien in sixth, IR Graham at the back of that pack in seventh. They're only 8.3 seconds behind the leader though, and Rido now 3.5 seconds behind them guys, and he is desperate for a pit stop. I don't know if he's going to make it. These are all surely going to jump into the pits. Rivixter, look at that, it's a beautiful sight, I love it. How they've all come together right near the end of the race. Lap 12, 4 laps to go of this race, and we believe all of these cars are going to disappear into the pits. Alpha has pitted, Jokers carries on, and the rest of these all go in. Do they? It looked like they were jumbling around. They have, no, IR Graham stayed out and Homesick Alien stayed out. The two Mustangs have turned against the Alliance and have decided to go it alone. Homesick and IR Graham out there now with their huge fuel tanks, deciding to do a Jokers. Jokers only 3.1 seconds ahead of Homesick Alien and IR Graham as they push each other around the track. The rest of the gang all pit in. Absolutely crazy. Alpha Nut should be coming back out ahead of those guys. In fourth place though. What can happen when Homesick and IR Graham pit? They've got to be over 30 seconds ahead of Alpha Nut, and at the moment there's 28 seconds ahead of Alpha. It's going to be very tight, very, very tight. Shiren next back out on track ahead of Skyjacker. Rivixter 7/10 behind Skyjacker, and Rido's lost a little bit more time. That Corvette really cost him with the fuel. Pat in the chat saying Volkswagen of America, I think I read a few weeks back. Yeah, or was it just Volkswagen of America? Oh, Volts, yeah, that's it, Volkswagen instead of Volks, to try and push that electric car thing. But yeah, Volkswagen, very clever, very clever. The Americans are thick enough; they'll take it. So Homesick Alien and IR Graham. Oh dear, the way they turned on their group, and they've stayed out there trying to grab an edge on the rest of them. Homesick Alien with that fastest lap of 5 minute 45.348. And how long more can they go for? Homesick Alien's got a quarter of a tank of fuel, so I think it's only this one lap he can stay out there. IR Graham's only just a little bit more. Beautiful shot of IR Graham's car there. Alpha Nut out of the pits, 28.8 seconds behind them guys, so I think he's still regain position ahead of them after their pit stops, depending on how well they buddy draft each other. Skyjacker leading that train of Shiren, Rivixter, Rido. It looks like he's 10 seconds behind now. It looks like he's really lost the toe in that Corvette. Whilst Rivixter, Shiren and Skyjacker all shuffle around to find what carriage they are in their train. And Jokers, meanwhile, 3.2 seconds lead, 3 laps to go, with Homesick Alien and IR Graham trying to catch up the Corvette in their Mustangs. Alpha Nut just fresh out the pits, 6.2 seconds ahead of Rivixter, Skyjacker and Shiren in their own little battle, and Rido unfortunately losing that toe, and he's a little bit out of it now. But Rido, if it's any consolation, I think your car may have been my favourite. I'm not sure. The livery is banging. Proper. So Jokers in the Milwaukee Corvette, doing an absolute cracking job. When he stepped out of the pit stops of the other guys and went alone, I thought it was a tough move. We saw Gasman trying that in the Pacific Rim Championship, and it really, really blew up in his face. But somehow Joker's making it work. Homesick Alien and IR Graham, the treachery of the Ford Mustangs, buddying up, letting the other guys pit, and they've carried on. Is it enough to jump Rivixter, Skyjacker, Shiren? I don't think they're going to be able to jump Alpha Nuts in their pits. But I think the aim is to try and pull a bit of distance out on Rivixter, Skyjacker and Shiren down there in 7th. You still can't call it, can you, eh? It's really a tough call for the win. Do you know what? Screw it, I'm going to say Jokus, because he's had the interesting run, an interesting race indeed. So I'm gonna put my neck out. I'm gonna go Jokus for the win. Muddy is saying Alpha. Anyone else care to put something out there? Homesick Alien and IR Graham. Homesick Alien is low on fuel. He'll be wanting to get round to this pits. It's another one. He's just about make it. He might need IR Graham to shove him along a little bit. IR Graham, he'll be coming in as well, I assume. And this is where we'll see, in relation to Alpha Nut, 27.6 seconds. So they've lost a little bit of time in the last corner to Alpha. Jokus has come in with 10% of fuel left. Homesick Alien in with 2%. It was tight. 14% for IR Graham. So Alpha Nut should retake, well, I don't know about retake the lead. I think Jokus might be back out ahead again. Rivixter and Skyjacker, Shiren in their train, trying to pull themselves up through the pack. It seemed to be working. They caught everyone up. That last round, there goes Alpha, who didn't, yeah, he's pitted, he's back out, he's short-filled, only half a tank. He's short-filled. Rivixter, Skyjacker, all staying out, so Joker's coming out. And now he's in trouble, I believe, because Rivixter, Skyjacker are all going to be going a lot faster, and Joker's there dropping through. Oh my word, it's blown up in his face. But there he goes, he's jumped behind Shiren to grab a toe, his teammate, down in 5th, so Alpha leading by 4.5 seconds, but they've got the train of Rivixter, Skyjacker, Shiren and Jokus heading their way. IR Graham and Homesick Alien ending up behind everyone. They should have pitted with the gang. And Rido now is 16.3 seconds. He's having a tough run out there without someone to tow him along. And Alpha Nut looking very strong out there. 2 more laps. He only short-filled it though, half a tank. Rivixter's got half a tank. Skyjacker half a tank. Shiren has got half a tank. Joker's a full tank. So what does that mean? Joker's is running all the way to the end, but the 4 cars in front of him might be pitting. I don't know. IR Graham, he's gone full tank, as has Homesick Alien, and Rido just over half a tank. This is gonna be, I'm not sure, you know. What's it take about, if they're pitting for 2 laps, half a tank is only going to be enough for about a lap and a bit, isn't it? So Alpha Nut probably having to pit again before the end of the race. Rivixter ahead of Skyjacker. Doesn't look like any of them have been changing their tyres on their pit stops at the end here. Joker's down there in 5th. He's getting a tow from his teammate from Team 13. IR Graham 7.6 seconds behind Joker's. And he's got Homesick Alien pushing him, but them 2 have filled up. I've got a feeling them 2 can go all the way to the end, as can Joker's. So 5th, 6th and 7th, I think, can go all the way to the end. I think the top guys have to pit before the end of the race. it's going to be an interesting finale. There is Alphanaut in his mellow yellow Mazda. Car 42 flying around ahead of Rivixter in his Corvette, whom is ahead of Skyjacker. Them two working absolutely beautiful together, not only in this race but the Pacific Rim Championship last time. It was at special stage Route X, and yes, they've pulled themselves up, but I think these have all got to pit. I think these top four need to pit before the end of the race, which means Jokus should retake the lead. He's only 4 seconds off of Alphanaut. That's how close the pack is. IR Graham 9 seconds behind Jokus right now, 13 seconds behind the leader. And the two Mustangs have buddied up in this race. They stayed out a lap longer, which might help them at the end. Garrido lost the toe after the last round of pit stops, and he slowly dropped back from the guys. So Alphanaut, is he coming down the straight? He's got 3-second lead on Rivixter and Skyjacker and Shiren. Just under a quarter of a tank of fuel. So yes, most likely to sling it into the pits at the end of this lap. Rivixter also, I believe, as will Skyjacker. Shiren, he's 4 tenths behind those guys, but they're all a lot lower on fuel than Jokus, IR Graham and Homesick Alien. So we'll see Alpha, I'm sure, drop into the pit lane after this turn. But on lap 14, the order is Alphanaut in first place, Rivixter in second place, Skyjacker in third place. And after we saw him hit that wall really early on, I think that was the flash from Skyjacker to say pit this lap. Shiren in fourth place, who's just ahead of a Jokus in fifth, who I don't believe will have to pit on this lap like the other guys ahead of him. IR Graham in a sixth spot, ahead of Homesick Alien in seventh. And Rido, unfortunately, in eighth. He's dropped out the toe and just lost things. There they all come in. Jokus retakes the lead. Can he maintain this for the rest of the race? This is crazy. This is it. This has got to be it. That's got to be him, hasn't it? That's got to be him running till the end. IR Graham and Homesick Alien getting past the pits. Skyjacker's only just got to his box, as has Rivixter. Alphanaut is fueling up right now. Shiren also fueling up. IR Graham up into second spot and Homesick Alien up into third. Do they need to pit? Will they need to pit on the next lap? I don't think so. I don't think they will. I think this is them running all the way to the end, but I cannot be sure. Jokus 11.1 seconds ahead of IR Graham, but Jokus has used a little bit. No, it's about the same fuel for him and IR Graham. Homesick Alien third. Skyjacker next out on track. He's beat the crew out. He's up in fourth, a second ahead of Shiren. They've put more fuel in than the guys that are out there running. This is so confusing. Alphanaut also, he's topped it right up for the last run. Rivixter, he's been shuffled right to the back there. 5.2 seconds behind Alphanaut, with Skyjacker and Shiren just slightly short filling. And Alphanaut there in sixth place as well. He filled right up, so he's lost a couple of positions to Skyjacker and Shiren, but he's coming back. He's trying to get past Shiren at the moment, up into fifth place, as he tries to grab a toe off of Skyjacker. So Skyjacker, Alphanaut and Shiren working together. Rivixter's really lost that toe there in 7th place. He's been left behind. I think he put a bit too much fuel in there, and they've all gone. Jokus then, half a tank of fuel on lap 15. It's not enough, is it? It's not enough. I think he's going to have to pit. I think these three are going to have to pit at the end of this lap. I don't think they're going to have enough fuel. I'm not sure. I'm confused. I really don't know. Skyjacker leading Alphanut and Shiren there in 4th, 5th and 6th. Rivixter 5-6 seconds behind those guys, losing out on that toe as Arido. He's some nearly 30 seconds. That's what happens when you're out of the toe. And Jokus, 10-second lead on IR Graham and Homesick Alien. And he's 29 seconds ahead of Skyjacker. If he's going to come in, it's going to have to be a splash and dash. I think they're going to have to come in. I'm sure IR Graham, Homesick and Jokus will all have to pit at the end of this lap. And Homesick only 18 seconds ahead of Skyjacker, as is IR Graham. It's not going to be enough for them. They really need to shove each other along. Half a tank. What they need to do is not pit. They need to both come off that accelerator, but then they can't, because Skyjacker is absolutely flying with Alphanut and Shiren in tow. So what a sticky situation for those guys leading at the moment, eh? Wow, I don't know. This could, I mean, Jokus I think can pit and get back out. I'm not sure, but I think he might be able to. With Skyjacker in 4th, he's 28 seconds. It's going to be tight. No, I don't think he can. I think that's it. This could be Skyjacker's race, or Alpha, or Shiren. But I think the three in front have cooked their goose, and I don't think they can do it. I don't know. No, Jokus is not going to have enough fuel. I'm sure of it. Nor is IR Graham and Homesick Alien. I mean, I wouldn't bet the house on it, but it's Lister-ing that way. We're just about to come up to an hour and a half of racing. That's what I think it was surmised it was going to take, but it's going on a little longer than an hour and a half, I'm afraid. I think it seems maybe the Group 3 road car cannot be faster than the actual Group 3 car, could it? Possibly, I'm not sure. But my oh my, Jokus, 12.3 seconds ahead of IR Graham and that Homesick Alien, who are virtually on the same piece of road in 2nd and 3rd. They're 15 seconds ahead of Skyjacker, who's in a little thing with Shiren and Alphanut right now. And they're trying to push each other along just in case those three in front pit, which I think they might have to. Jokus is coming up to that final corner now. He's just got over a quarter. That's not enough to get around, is it? He's going to have to come in for a splash and a dash. Crazy stuff on the last lap here at Special Stage Route X for the Speed Fest. And we're seeing the leader, Jokus, having to make a bit of a pit stop, as I think the Mustangs might have to as well. Skyjacker could retake. Skyjacker was out of it on lap 1, and there goes Jokus. It is true. He has to pit. What about the Mustangs? I think they will as well. Crazy stuff. No? The Mustangs are carrying on. The Mustangs feel there's enough in the tank to get them around that last lap. And my word, the Mustangs have taken the lead. IR Graham from Homesick Alien. Who'd have funked that? The Corvette in the pits, topping up with fuel. Skyjacker is up into 3rd, ahead of Alphanut. And Shiren. Jokus dropping right out of it. There's Rivixter. Jokus still not moving. There's Jokus now. He's on the move. He's out ahead of Rivixter. Rivixter might have a tow buddy after all. He's going full pelt down the straight at 200 odd miles an hour, where Jokus is having to catch up that speed coming out the pit lane. And Rivixter, 3.3 seconds. He should cut a lot of that down. But where are they? They're 5 seconds behind Suren. Nothing in it between Suren Alpha and Skyjacker. And the Mustangs, who believe they've got enough fuel to make it, but you can see there IR Graham's lifted, as has Homesick Alien. 12 seconds. Can they fuel conserve for 12 seconds around between the two of them? Look, we're looking at nothing there. There they go. They just drive onto the screen. No, they're back up now. They're back floored. So IR Graham ahead of Homesick Alien. Homesick Alien's got a lot more fuel on board than IR Graham. It's looking very good for Homesick Alien. There's me saying Jokers. It's going to get in the pits and back out ahead of Skyjacker, but how wrong was I? Skyjacker in third, Alpha in fourth, Shiren in fifth. What will happen? Jokers there back in sixth, just ahead of a Rivixter. Rivixter 2.7 seconds behind Jokers. Jokers some 5.5 seconds behind his teammate Shiren. Alpha Nuts in fourth, just behind Skyjacker, pushing him along. And then you have the Mustangs out there. Is it fuel capacity that's done them a great service today? I'm not sure, but Homesick, where he's been sat behind IR Graham, has been able to save a shed load of fuel. And IR Graham down to a quarter of a tank as he goes into turn one. Skyjacker in the chat saying sorry, and it is. I think that was the answer to Volkswagen of America, I think, as Pat was saying. Wow. Homesick Alien, he's going to release that. He's going to release that Mustang soon. He can burn out a lot more fuel than IR Graham can afford to. They're coming down the final straight for them guys, and then it's the final turn, and then it's the race finish. Homesick still giving IR Graham a push. I would have thought he'd be tempted just to try and make the move, but maybe he's going to wait until the final corner. Skyjacker, Alpha and Shiren, and they're going to be pulling the shotgun soon on each other, and from helping each other they're going to have to turn into racing each other in this final straight as well. Joker's all on his own. On Rido, Rivixter's really dropped off the world. Rivixter's now 1.6 seconds behind Rido. So don't know what happened to Rivixter. Oh yes, the Group 3 road cars, mate, are faster than the Group 3 race cars. That's the answer that Skyjacker was answering to earlier, when I said it's gone over half an hour and a half, that it was approximated to be a race. So IR Graham, he's got the fuel. Has he got the fuel? For heaven's sakes, man. The Mustangs pulled a right one off there. Skyjacker only 8 seconds behind with Alphanut. They're holding station at the moment down this final straight. It's all going to happen in the final corner, it seems. Jokers, Rido. Rivixter must have dropped back for Rido, but it's a bit late in the race now. And IR Graham still ahead of Homesick Alien. They've not decided to race each other just yet. In those Ford Mustangs, Skyjacker still ahead of Alpha. They're still bump drafting. So no one's prepared to make a move until the very final corner. And possibly it won't be until they come out of the final corner, so they can't get towed back. IR Graham leading the way as they come up to turn 2 of this huge track. And Skyjacker there ahead of Alphanut, who is ahead of Shiren. Shiren looking like he wants to have a look. IR Graham heading in to the final corner of the race. His fuel is flashing. Homesick Alien, is this it? Homesick Alien making the move of the race in the final corner. But can IR Graham hold him off? IR Graham staying low, staying tight around that corner. Homesick Alien, will he drop back down for the toe for the final part of the straight before they reach the final line? Here we go, 16 laps around Route X, and this is what it all burns down to. Who can get out the corner? The best. IR Graham still ahead of Homesick Alien. Homesick Alien, there's nothing he can do about it. He's gone back into the toe. But how far away is that finish line? Is it enough for Homesick Alien to grab a toe and get ahead of the Mustang? It doesn't look like it. IR Graham's trying to break that toe, moving from one side to another, and IR Graham's looking like he's good for the win, and the Homesick Alien just can't get that toe enough at the end. And there you go, IR Graham, Homesick Alien in second. Skyjacker, they're tussling here, and Skyjacker grabs third. Takaboo with Seren in fourth and Alphanut in fifth. Crazy stuff there. Jokers bringing her home for sixth spot, and Rido and Rivixter in the end buddying up to finish in seventh and eighth place. What a cracker, what a cracker. So Rido maintaining that seventh ahead of Rivixter, coming around the final corner. I don't think there's much Rivixter can do. He seems a little too far back. Is Rido going in the pits? Oh no, he's gone over and hit the wall. But there they go, they're coming across the line. Seventh, boom, and eighth. Brilliant stuff. IR Graham takes the win from Homesick Alien, and Skyjacker, take a boo my son, grabs that third from that early wall hit. You wouldn't have thought it was possible, but there he goes. IR Graham, congratulations, man. Brilliant race there in the end. I'll take you to the results, and before we say our big goodbyes. So after, what was that, 1 hour and 36 minutes and 52 seconds of racing, IR Graham takes the win, with Homesick Alien very close there, 8 hundredths behind IR Graham. The two Mustangs went long on that last stint before the last final pit stops, and it paid well for them, pulling themselves right to the front. Skyjacker there hit the wall early doors about an hour and 30 odd minutes ago, and worked with Rivixter to get himself back up and onto the podium. Seren always at the front, bit of a shame for him in the end there, dropping off the podium in fourth. Alphanut also always up the front, so Seren and Alphanut missing out a little bit right near the end. Jokus in sixth. He was looking good, his tactics was looking solid, but that final pit stop, he wanted to be like those Mustangs and managed to stay out for that last stint. But that final pit stop on the last lap really stung for him. Rido getting seventh. He was having a cracking race, always up there as well, but after the final pit stops he lost the toe and just dropped back. And Rivixter, we missed what happened to Rivixter. In the chat, Skyjacker saying massive thanks to Riv. Soz, you got dropped at last stop. He had to put more fuel in, afraid. I think you guys had more fuel on board. He had hardly any fuel when he got there, so he spent more time stood still. Right, that was the Virtual Racers Club presents Speedfest. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Keep an eye out what we got left. We've still got a Clio Cup to replay, and then Saturday night we're live with the Hybrid Prototype Endurance Championship, so please join us then. Pat's jumping in, it sounds like. So awesome stuff. I've got nothing else to tell you. Porsche Sprint Trophy. Oh, I think Heel Tread are having a 50% off at the moment, so go and check out Heel Tread, our friends Heel Tread, because I'm sure I saw they were having a massive sale, so check them out. I want some golf socks with that McLaren Golf this weekend at Monaco. I'm hoping Heel Tread go and do something similar to that. Lovely stickers also, if you want some decals, check them out. And Grid Finder, a close friend of ours, always showing you where the races are in the world of sim racing. And Acelith Designs, if you want to snazz up your wheel and gain yourself. Look, Skyjacker got third. He's got Acelith Design wheel, so it definitely makes you faster. That's everything from this end. I thank you all for checking us out. Please don't be a stranger. Come back anytime. Join our Discord. You can get there through our website, www.virtualracersclub.co.uk. You'll get a pop-up, and that is how you get into our Discord. Come in and say hi. We're all there, and we're all very friendly. Except for, who should I pick on? Homesick Alien. He's a little bit cold. Takes too long to reply. I was your commentator and broadcaster. Oh, hang on. Oh, and WRX is coming next week. Yes, Skyjacker reminded me. Oh, yeah, baby. It's time to get down and dirty. Oh, Shireen got the fastest lap as well. Yeah, down and dirty with the WRX Championship. Beautiful stuff. The Subaru Isle of Man TT car. Oh, yeah. Next week is looking great. Porsche's on Tuesday. And Subaru's on Thursday. And Friday. Something's happening Friday, I think. I'll tell you about it Tuesday or Thursday, I'm sure. Or Sunday. Before the room closes then, I was your broadcaster and your commentator. Oh, God. Phil McCracken. Thank you for joining in, and I'll catch you later. Cheers. GT4 World Series as well, keep an eye out. Oh yeah, GT4 World Series, the last one. That's what's Friday. I knew there was something. So yeah, next week we'll be finishing off that GT4 World Series we were doing. Anyway, that's me done. I'm going. Alright, I'll see you later. Thanks a lot. I was Phil McCracken. See you later. Bye. Love you all.